This house sold for $500,000. The exact same layout across the street rents for $2,100 per month. So who made the smarter financial decision? The buyer or the renter? Most people think the buyer made the smarter move, but that belief might be costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in this video, you'll see how to actually compare renting versus buying the right way, and why the obvious choice is often the wrong one. Before we go further, let me introduce myself. My name is Casey. I'm an enrolled agent and a real estate investor. I spend my days helping people understand how money, taxes, and real estate actually work together in the real world. Not how they're talked about on social media, not how your uncle talks about them at Thanksgiving, and definitely not how real estate agents explain them when they're trying to sell you a home. And what I'm about to show you is something almost nobody calculates before making one of the biggest financial decisions of their life. Let's walk through it. So the purchase price of this house is $500,000 and the buyer puts $100,000 down. Therefore, they take out a $400,000 loan at 6.1% interest, which is the current national average, on a 30-year fixed mortgage. That creates a mortgage payment of about $2,425 per month. And this is where most people stop thinking. They say, okay, I can afford $2,425 per month, but that number is incredibly misleading, you guys, because the mortgage is only part of the picture. Over 30 years, they don't just pay back $400,000, they pay about $473,000 in interest to the bank. That means before we even talk about taxes, insurance, or maintenance, this house has already cost them $973,000. Now we add the costs that only homeowners pay. And this is where people think I'm exaggerating when I say about $13,000 per year on a home like this. On a $500,000 house, property taxes at roughly 1.2%, the current national average, are about $6,000 per year. And with home insurance on a property this size, typically $1,500 to $2,000 per year, we're now at roughly $8,000. Then there's maintenance. A very common rule of thumb in real estate is budgeting 1% of the home's value per year for maintenance and repairs. On a $500,000 house, that's $5,000 per year. And that's not remodeling. That's normal ownership maintenance and repairs. Appliances dying, HVAC servicing, roof work, plumbing leaks, exterior upkeep, paint, fencing, and everything that wears out over time. So realistically, $6,000 in property tax plus about $2,000 in insurance costs plus about $5,000 in maintenance costs equals $13,000 per year. Over 30 years, that's another $390K. So when you add it all together, you guys, the true cost of owning this $500,000 home for 30 years is about $1.36 million. And most people never see that because they only focus on the purchase price. Now let's look at the renter. Rent starts at $2,100 per month and increases about 3% per year. So over 30 years, the total rent paid is about $1.02 million. And this is where people say, see, renting costs $1 million. But here's what they miss. The homeowner isn't really paying $2,425 per month. Once you add property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, the true monthly cost of owning is closer to $3,500 per month. The renter is paying $2,100. That's $1,400 per month staying in the renter's pocket. And this is where almost all financial advice breaks down, because people assume the renter is doing nothing with the difference. But what if the renter has a plan? If you're watching this and realizing nobody has ever broken this down like this for you, this is exactly what we help people do. We help working professionals map out a step-by-step plan to buy their first property the right way. Not emotionally, but strategically. If you want help building a plan like this for your situation, you can click the link in the description and book a free call with us. Now back to it. Here's what this renter can do differently. For the first 3 years, they keep the $100,000 they didn't use as a down payment and save the $1,300 per month they aren't spending on ownership costs. Remember, those taxes, those repairs, the surprise expenses, and they deliberately build up cash for an investment. And after 3 years, you guys, they have roughly $120 to $130K available. And instead of buying a primary residence, they use an FHA loan or a conventional loan to buy a duplex or a triplex. They move into one unit and rent out the other. Now something fundamentally changes. Their housing payment is no longer a pure expense. The tenant or tenants cover a large portion of the mortgage, if not all of it, and instead of paying $3,500 per month to live somewhere, they might now be paying $0 to $1,000 per month to live in a property that they own. And this is where time starts working in their favor in a way it never does for the original buyer, because over the next 27 years, rent from the tenant increases with inflation, the mortgage stays fixed, equity builds every single month, the property appreciates, and eventually they move out and keep it as a rental. By year 30, this person doesn't just have a place to live. They have an income producing asset that could easily be worth quadruple what it originally cost, with much or all of it paid down by the tenants. And very importantly, they learned how to buy an investment property first, not a personal residence first. They learned how to put their cash to work rather than just have it leave their pocket. Meanwhile, the original buyer spent $1.33 million for one property, no income from it, and 30 years of housing payments entirely from their own pocket. You guys, this is why the rent versus buy debate is incomplete, because it assumes only two choices: rent and fall behind, or buy and get ahead. But there's a third option that almost nobody talks about. Rent strategically so you can buy the right first property. The property that changes your financial trajectory. The property that pays you back. The property that teaches you how real estate actually works. And here's the part people really don't think about. When you buy a primary residence first, your money gets trapped. Your flexibility disappears. Your ability to save shrinks. Your options narrow. When you rent with a plan, you stay flexible. You stay liquid. You stay in control of timing. And that's a very different position to be in. So before you rush to buy a house because someone told you renting is throwing money away, ask yourself a better question. Are you renting, or are you renting with a future plan to buy? Now, if you want help figuring out what that plan would look like for you, that's exactly what we help our students do in our program, First Asset Academy. We'll walk you through exactly how to buy real estate the right way, step by step, based on your income and your goals. Go ahead and book a free call with us using the link in the description. And if you learned something in this video, make sure to click the like button, drop any questions in the comments. And if you want more videos related to real estate investing for working professionals, tap that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you in the next one.